Hey, I'm Ryan Brown. I'm going to be the speech and rhetoric teacher at Trace this coming school year. And I'm not able to be at the Meet the Teacher time. I'm going to be out of town next week. But I wanted to record a video at least to kind of introduce you to the class, introduce you to me if you don't know me already, and give you an idea of what you can expect from our rhetoric class, but also what I'll be expecting from you if you're taking my rhetoric class. So the first thing is, what is rhetoric? Rhetoric is, for lack of a better word, it's kind of like speech class, but it's also writing class. Rhetoric is the art of persuasion. And so all I'm trying to do is help you be able to come up with a clear thesis, to develop an opinion on something, and then be able to defend that with your words, whether those be spoken words or written words. That's the point of the class, and that's what we're aiming to do. The main textbook that you're going to have is the Rhetoric Companion, written by Doug Wilson and his son, N.D. Wilson. It's a great text. It's one that I used when I taught at Veritas Academy, and I feel like it's just a good basic core text to build out the main tenets of rhetoric. It uses a classical approach, so it's going to be thinking through all the kind of classical elements that Aristotle and Quintilian and Cicero utilized in their works on rhetoric, but it brings it into a modern era too, and thinks about how do those things translate into a world where we have now like social media and YouTube, and the way of performing rhetoric has radically changed in our modern world. So we're going to be thinking about how all of that kind of intersects, and it's going to be a lot of fun, I hope. That's one of the main goals. This is one of my favorite things to teach, partially because my background is in theater and in speech, and so the world of communication, especially public communication, is one of the things I really love. And I think that it can be a great advantage to you as a student to learn how to articulate your opinion, where you stand on something clearly, and to be able to defend it, especially when we think about us as Christians, as believers. One of the great things that we're called to is to be able to defend our faith, to state what the gospel is clearly. And I think that a rhetoric class is a great tool in helping you be able to do that well. One of the things that you'll need to have is a notebook, which I'll call a commonplace notebook. And commonplaces are just little quotes that you find in life that you think are helpful, like this is really good words. And so you'll be collecting those and writing them down in this little quote book, basically, as a way of keeping track of good words so that you can use them when you need to. The thing is, it's a biblical principle. You put out what you put in. And so if you want to be a good writer, you need to read good writing. Just kind of an important principle. So I want you to be reading and recording good words that you find in your life. And of course, we'll be having debates in class some. We'll be watching some debates, hopefully. It's a great year to have a rhetoric class when there's politics happening in a presidential election. We'll get to see some actual rhetoric happening in real time. So that'll make it a little more fun. You'll also need to have, of course, the book, The Rhetoric Companion. There are two other books that are on your syllabus. Aristotle's On Rhetoric and his Poetics too, and then also a book by Scott Kreider called The Office of Assertion. Those two texts, I think, are enormously helpful in learning about rhetoric. But because of the nature of this class and us meeting once a week, I'm not going to make you have those books. I think that they would be an awesome tool. I'm going to be referencing them because I think that a lot of what they have to say is really helpful. So I'll be talking about elements that they bring up in class. I'll also have a reading list. So I'll each semester, I'll give you kind of a chart of like, here's where we're going to be going, and it'll have readings from those books on that list. And so if you do get those books, which I encourage you to, if you really want to excel in rhetoric, if you want to grow in it, I encourage you to get those books and to read those readings in them. But I recognize this class, there's a pretty good range of ages that are going to be in there. And so when some of you may be taking my humanities class, and you're going to have lots of readings in there too. So maybe the readings will be too much for you one week, whatever. I understand that. I recognize that it's a lot to read. So those readings will be supplemental. They'll be helpful to you, but they are not mandatory. So you don't have to have those books. I recommend them. They would be helpful to you. Get a notebook for your commonplaces, get a 3-ring binder with some paper in it to take notes, to do short writing exercises that I'll have you do regularly. And that's pretty much all you need. That and your brain, that's really helpful. Oh, and of course, you need access to a computer because you'll have to be typing essays and submitting them. So you need a computer with a word processor of some kind. Google Docs works great for that. You don't have to go and buy Microsoft Word or something. Google Docs is fine. That's even helpful because then you can just send it directly to me. You don't have to print it out. How handy is that? If you have any questions, you can look at my syllabus. It has all my contact information on it, and you can get in touch with me if you have questions, concerns, thoughts, whatever else. But I'm excited to get to teach rhetoric and talk about how you can communicate more clearly in life.